Sasini, for those who may not know, was incorporated in 1952. This year, in fact, we are running up to celebrating our 70 years of experience. It started as a coffee business in the Mount Kenya region, and then quickly delved into operations in the tea area as well on the west of Rift Valley, and ran as a tea and coffee producing, manufacturing and exporting business for a very long time. About 4.5 years ago, we delved into diversifying our revenue streams into macadamia and avocado, and we have a small dairy unit that we run as well in one of our estates in the Mount Kenya region.
At Sasini PLC, we support the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. These 17 goals actually are interdependent, and we have deliberately chosen to work on 9. And the reason for choosing these 9 is because we feel we can strongly drive these 9 to help contribute to our aim of being an industry leader and advocate for sustainability.
Sasini PLC has been a signatory to the UN Global Compact for a number of years now. And this commitment by the company really signals that they are willing to embark on a journey where they combine purpose and profits together. And lately, with the adoption of the Sustainable Development Goals within Sasini's business strategy, Sasini really is putting itself on a path where they will be able to deliver on their own business goals while also ensuring that societies and communities prosper alongside them. The Sustainable Development Goals are really a blueprint for the future that we all want. They encompass a set of 17 goals that range from issues like how can we work collectively to end poverty, how can we achieve a good and healthy environment, how can we end a hunger in our lifetime, and how can we achieve a clean and healthy environment where we can all be able to prosper and advance our economies.
These goals were set with the corporate citizenry in mind globally. And so for us to give it credence, we really need to align to them. So what we've chosen to do, instead of setting our own sustainable goals, is to look at what's already out there that we can do as a business. And so we found 9 very relevant goals that we can align ourselves to. In choosing those 9, we're not saying we're ignoring the other. We're just saying that we'll do everything, but these 9 are really, really critical and very focused on the work that we do as an agricultural business in Kenya.
The government of Kenya believes very strongly in private sector-led development and has been a great partner and has developed the spaces for engagement with the private sector, whether as co-investors. There's a lot of private sector funded activities that are public in nature, like infrastructure.
One of the things we are very proud of is our automation process. The fact that over the last few years we've gone very strongly into automating a lot of our processes, be they in agronomy in the field, or in production in the factories, or in marketing in the commercial end of the spectrum. We very easily become the most mechanized tea operation in the country in the last few years, and we want to help the industry to see the benefits of that mechanization in cost containment, in efficiency improvement, and in all the other things that it brings towards those businesses being sustainable, profitable to themselves, being less harmful to the environment in which they work, but more importantly, in driving the use and engulfing new technology to do business better, quicker, and simpler.
With regard to the fourth SDG, which is quality education, we remain committed to offering this within our own establishment and the communities. We have 4 schools that are already within our establishment, and we are supportive of other schools within the localities, more particularly in the coffee growing areas around Kiambu. The schools that we own and support are actually in Kipkebe and our tea operations. And the target really is to help the vulnerable and marginalized members of the society, where we can give them facilities to afford education or to access education.
Sasini has built a value chain support system around the management of suppliers, around the management of distributors. So in this regard, Sasini works very well with outgrowers, both in the coffee sector and the tea sector, to make sure that they enhance the capabilities of the outgrowers, teach them good farming practices, good production and harvesting practices. Responsible use of fertilizer and pesticides is also encouraged to make sure that they practice responsible production, reduce post-harvest losses, and in the long run, all these processes will determine the quality of the final product.
Where also quality education is concerned, we've made sure that we train managers on an yearly basis, management courses within the factory for them to be able to undertake their duties well.
In doing all this, we want to retain good talent. So first of all, attract excellent people to work for us, train them and retain them so that they keep helping us to grow the business. You can't grow a business if you don't have strong talent and if that talent is not growing. So our focus on talent is really, really critical as well.
We are passionate about goal number 5, gender equality.
It starts with the Kenyan Constitution, which has recognized the unique role and responsibility that that framework and foundational document for the country ascribes to gender equality. It's also been very exciting to see the response of the private sector, that now there are more women in boards, there are more young people joining leadership positions in organizations and making female leadership more natural and more expected.
We have about 40% of managers who are female, and that is very encouraging, which actually makes us go down into the drawing board and say we can set up ambitious targets. Like we say, in the next 5 years, we want to increase this to 45.
We're not leaving out the men or being discriminatory about it. It's only that in the agricultural industry, it's keen about men. And so we thought, since this is an agricultural industry which is keen, there are things which ladies can also equally latch on and be able to execute properly. And we've seen the sorting of macadamia being done excellently by the ladies.
How I would encourage the women is to make sure that they enter into the areas where men have dominated, and how we're empowering the women is inclusion of the business women in the society, that they are able to be qualified as our suppliers.
Hii kazi nilipata advertisement, nika apply and then nikakuja interview, nikaipata. Nikiwa shule, sikuwa nadhania itafika siku nitaoperate machine kama hii. Nilikuwa naona ni ngumu na tena ni ya wanaume. Hii kazi inanisaidia sana sana, mimi nakuwa breadwinner naweza nisaidia kwa saidi za chakula na tena mtoto. Hii kazi ya Valiant naambia wenzangu wasiogope. Kazi yenye wanaume wanafanya pia sisi tunaweza fanya.
We have within our establishment medical facilities. We have a fully equipped laboratory in our tea operations, as well as 4 medical decent facilities with one with a 19 bed capacity or plus. And we also provide creches to nursing mothers. We give them time for lactating mothers, we give them time off to go and nurse their children.
Apart from the medical well-being of the employees, we've also made sure that the environment is safe for the employees to work under. We've also made sure that all the equipment that we work with, both at the factory level and at the office level, they're safe for the employees to work with.
Our people are paid and paid on time, number one. They are supported, those who actually are residents of the estate. They have their own kitchen gardens, which they don't pay anything to Sasini. And beyond that, we provide lunch for all the staff who work within our, where we are domiciled, and we support them by subsidizing the lunches they take. We've
made sure that our employees are being paid fairly well. We've also made sure that employees have access to basic needs at the workplace. As HR, we've made sure that when we have vacancies, we consider the community around. When we need casuals, we first look at the people living around the factories.
To supplement our energy needs, we use fuel wood. Now, the wood fuel comes from our factories, some of which is also bought, and it is not bought cheaply. So if we can find better alternatives in wind power, geothermal, we move away from hydroelectricity, and our cost will lessen.
Kenya as a small country is not contributing that much to greenhouse gases. We changed the narrative to a focus on reduction of costs, and many companies that took the energy efficiency journey have found that they've saved themselves nearly 1 billion shillings each year in energy bills, which was wasted. A company that invests in tree expansion of tree cover within the country is saving itself costs eventually because of the natural, the effects of nature.
On affordable and clean energy, I must be very confident when I say Sasini, we have been pioneers. And particularly on the coffee department, 15 years ago, when we started milling the coffee, we realized that the husks were going to waste. And we did a factory to add value to the husks. All we need to do is just get a little bit of sawdust, mix it up with our husks for boarding purpose, and we generate briquettes that are now used across the industrial places.
We're about to launch initiatives now to start moving away from non-renewable sources of energy towards solar-generated energy so that we can also play our part there. So there are many things we do to talk to the planet.
We've opened the door for our consumers to give us feedback about what we do, what our products are like, and how it affects them, not just in terms of consumption, but even how we operate within the localities where they are and how it affects their environment.
When we go to Macadamia, this is the most intensive one because this is a ready-to-eat product. And what we have done is to get to the highest level of certification. We have 3 standards. One is kosher. We have food safety standards, which takes care more of the European market. We have international fishery standard, which is a developed standard by the American market. In principle, all these standards, what they are doing is to ensure safe production of the product.
That being ISO food safety and the Kenyan laws being governed by international laws, we latch on it and ensure that we observe the local laws. We have the Agricultural Foods and Act and the Crops Act, which we look up to, and other legislation. We also have the regulators who govern our activities, and we conform to them, and this is done through having a compliance register which helps us in tracking the licenses that we have.
Sasini being a listed entity, we are proud to have one of the most progressive capital markets regulator in Africa. So from the Code of Corporate Governance that has been issued by the Capital Markets Authority, we have certain key aspects that will enhance the practice of sustainability by listed entities. Key among these aspects that have been brought out by the Code are encouragement of companies to practice ethical leadership and strategic management, including having diversified board of directors. The other aspect that the code is brought about is the issue around obedience to laws and regulations, that companies must comply with all laws and regulations, both national level and international laws. The other aspect that is very important in the pursuit of sustainability emanating from this code is the issue of transparency and disclosures. So capital markets requires companies to effectively be proactive in making the necessary disclosures and operating their businesses in a very transparent and a very accountable manner.
We derive our success from agriculture. Agriculture is the tilling of land to plant crops, to get produce, to then convert into product, to pack and sell. And so without the land, we wouldn't be selling tea and coffee and macadamia and avocado to, consumers around the world. And so for us, it's really critical that the primary element of our business is the land on which we grow our crops. And so it's incumbent on us that we protect that aggressively and very strongly. We've done this for 70 years. We intend to continue doing this for many years to come. We have in excess of 1.5 million trees that we grow as part of our forestry management program. But if you think about it seriously, the tea bush is a tree, the coffee bush is a tree, the avocado and macadamia are trees. And so our contribution to the environment in terms of what trees do for good of nature is really total. I'm very proud of that. On top of those that we use commercially, we then grow forest to enhance the work that we're doing on the environment. So the planet is really critical for us.
I think sustainability is the way to go. For long, the private sector has considered this an additional cost and something that they don't want to spend money in. But many are actually demonstrating that investment in sustainability, first of all, makes them more money, saves them money.
Going forward, our intent is to continue driving our strength in agriculture, being the country's premier and leading agricultural business, but also to drive our diversification further whenever we see those opportunities.
It is actually in their own self-interest to help us achieve the SDGs, because businesses cannot thrive in an environment or a society that is failing.
If we don't do it right, then we don't get it right.